So we're learning Igeres HaKodesh. We're starting 17, Yud Zayin, on page Kuf Chof Hey. Now, the last chapter, which I wrote and Moshe responded, is when you have a chance, listen to the last shir, Moshe. It's we did it in one shir. It's not so, but it's fascinating. Fascinating how the Alter Rebbe talks about giving when you don't have. It's a very heavy one, you know. But of course, he's talking about giving to a legitimate cause and a legitimate person. You understand? And he makes. The one thing that I walked away with from that last chapter is, if you want Hashem to have rachmanis on you, mercy on you, then you have on his subjects. And if you're medagdik, okay, so Isser, you know, what you were talking about before is medagdik, and it's a medagdik. Well, you have to be very careful that, you know, because if we don't want Hashem to be medagdik on us, you know, because so although you could be right in halacha and things like that, the whole concept of being medagdik, definitely from a Hasidic perspective, it should be not. We shouldn't be medagdik. We should give, you know, we should give someone slack and work with them as long as, you know, you're not, you know, that they're not hurting themselves. And of course, that's debatable. Well, being a goof off and not working is hurting yourself. So, you know, I'm not going to go into it. Anyway, let's go to Yud Zayin. Now, the Alter Rebbe talks about this is a very kind of Kabbalistic chapter about the specialty of the Mitzva Tzedaka, al pi Kabbalah, and he'll put it into Hasidic terms. You'll see soon. Noida, it is known, the besarusa delatata, through the arousal of below, meaning us here on earth, when we generate the feeling, the connection. When a person arouses in their heart, midas chesed v'rachmanis, the attribute of kindness, chesed v'rachmanis, and mercifulness, al kol atzrichim l'rachamim, upon all those that need to have mercy. So when we you know, ignite the rachmanis in our heart for those people, which is called isarusa dilatata, Moshe, the arousal from below, the reciprocating effect is isarusa dileila, Hashem arouses from heaven, from above, la'eder olav rachmim rabim, and he awakens us with abundance of mercy, mimokir arachamim, from the source of mercy, lashpia loi, and Hashem gives to this individual who has mercy on Hashem's subjects, Hashem gives him hapeiros, the fruit, the benefit, the, you know, ba'olam hazeh, on earth, and we'll see what that means soon, v'hakeren, and the principle, l'olam haba, is the world to come. So it's very clear that, Yoini, us having rachmanis on those that need the rachmanis, and we initiate it. We don't wait for them to solicit us, but we, you know, go to them and we initiate the giving and the mercy. Hashem says, that is worthy of me giving you something very special. And that's called the fruit in Olam Hazeh and the principle in Olam Haba. And the Alter Rebbe explains, Pirush. HaPeiros, what are the fruit? They are hashpo hanishpas b'mokir harachamim. It is the effluence coming from the source of mercy, v'chaya chayim baruch hu, the living God, b'neshekes lemato mato, and it's drawn down below, b'pchinas ishtalshalos, through the progression ha'olamos of worlds, milmayla lemata, from above to below, ad shemislabeshes be'olam hazeh agashmi. This accomplishment, the effluence, the energy comes from on high, Moshe, all the way down, and it goes through the spiritual worlds. And guess what? It ends up where? Look what it says. In the physical world, bebona, in your children, chaya, in good health, umezone, and sustenance, livelihood. That is the result of initiating Rachmanis on others. That's the peiros. That's the fruit. What about the principle? V'hakeren, who it is, K'moshe Kosov, as it says in Tehillim in 119, Rechava mitzvoscha ma'oid. Broad, your mitzvah is very broad. Asks the Alter Rebbe, what is David HaMelech referring to? Seemingly not just one mitzvah, all mitzvahs. So David should have said mitzvosecha, not mitzvatcha, mitzvoscha. Mitzvoscha means one mitzvah. Mitzvosecha, with the yud between the taf and the final chav, is plural, loshen rabim. That's one question. V'gam, another question the Balatanya has, loshen rechava eina movin. Rechava. What's the normal word? The gadol, great. Your mitzvahs are great. Your mitzvah is great. Rechava means broad. It's a very enigmatic usage of Hebrew language to express the greatness of a mitzvah. So the Alter Rebbe's second question in the parentheses is, the language rechava is enigma. Ella, so he explains now, he answers his own question. Ella mitzvos chodaikihi. The Alter Rebbe says, you're right. David HaMelech doesn't say mitzvah techa, plural. He says one mitzvah. Very broad is this one mitzvah. He mitzvah tzedaka. Only tzedaka gets the attribute of rechava. Shu mitzvah Hashem mamish. This is the actual mitzvah of God. Masha Kodesh Baruch Hu b'chvoitei v'atzmei. The fact that God in His very essence and presence, Oiseh Tomid, does constantly lahachiyas ha'olamis, to sustain, to enliven the worlds. Now, v'yaseh la'osid, and God will do this even more. He'll do this also in the future. V'yaseh seis v'ois, even more so when Mashiach comes. Because it says, "V'shomer derech Hashem," guard the path of God. Allah says tzedakah, to do tzedakah. So what do we see? That the mitzvah of tzedakah is unique. And the verse, David HaMelech, is not referring to all mitzvahs. Rechava mitzvoscha. This one mitzvah is very special, and it gets the accolade called rechava. We'll see soon what that means. K'may derech, and he explains this other verse, just as a path, a derech, sheholchem ba, that one walks on, me'ir le'ir, from city to city, al derech mashul. So too, kacha tzedakah, so too is charity tzedakah. He b'chinas gilui va'oras einasav baruch hu. It is kind of the pathway that reveals the infinite God of known as Seiv Kol Alma, the translucent light, the encompassing, hovering light, energy of Hashem, sheyoev yizgale, that should shine and reveal itself ad olam hazeh, through all the worlds, until it reveals itself in the physical world, bisarusa dilatata, b'teiras tzedakah v'chesed, when we arouse the arousal from below through the tzedakah and chesed, chinam, free love, free kindness, no cost involved, no tit for tat. I'll do this for you, you do this for me, stuff like that. But real chesed chinam, la'osid. And it'll reveal itself. Next page 250, in the future, la'asid, b'tchiyas ha'mesim. So there's 2 points here, Chevre. There is the way this energy expresses itself now, pre-resurrection of the dead, and there is the way ultimately it be expressed when Mashiach comes. So it's two different, it's one notion, but has 2 stages. And the reason why you merit to these stages, which is called, what does he call this? He calls this the Keren, the principle. So what's the difference, he's going to say soon, between the principle and the fruit, right? When you make an investment, you have the profits and you have the principle, right? Sometimes you don't make profit. You're happy you have the principal, right? But what he's saying here is, I believe that the Keren is even higher. The Keren, the principle, is even greater than the fruit, than the result. And what the Keren, because the Keren is specifically the one mitzvah, which is tzedaka, that opens up this door, which other mitzvahs don't. So that's the answer to his question, really, Isser. His question was, why does it say Rechava mitzvah secha instead of mitzvascha instead of mitzvah secha? Singular language versus plural. The answer is because we're talking about this one mitzvah, tzedakah. In other words, the other mitzvahs do not accomplish the same thing. They can't accomplish this. They accomplish great things, other things. But when you want something to come from all the way on high, from the highest level, which we call seviv, to come all the way into your bank account, into your life, to your children, your health, your parnasa, it's the mitzvah of tzedakah. Not tefillin, not Shabbos, not Yom Kippur. They're all very special mitzvahs. But they don't have that as their ingredients. Tzedakah has, and what's the idea? You ask yourself, why? Why does tzedakah have this? Because the feeling of evoking, and he makes it clear, you have to initiate the process. When you evoke Rahmanis on someone else, it touches the essence. It's a very deep point. It's not just, Moshe, it's not just, I'll do a nice thing. I'll do a spiritual thing. I'll do a mitzvah. The Rahmanis feeling of mercy is a very powerful one. It's the most powerful when done right, when we're really in the mode of Rahmanis. We learned a few chapters before that Rahmanis touches the essence of God. The expression in Kabbalah is Teferes Ola ad Ein Sof, or ad Keser. That the Midas Rahmanas, which is seen through the third midah of the 6 midos, Chesed, Gvura, Teferes, beauty, Teferes, charisma, mercy, touches the Ein Sof. Why doesn't Chesed touch the Ein Sof? Why doesn't Gvura touch the Ein Sof? Because they're limited in comparison to Rahmanas. Let's continue. And he says, all souls of tzaddikim, v'tanoim, sages, v'nevim, and prophets, shehem ata b'gan eden elyon, who are right now in the supernal Gan Eden, berum amaylas, to the exalted levels, yislapshu b'gufei. They will be, when Mashiach comes, resurrected. They will be enclosed in bodies, also in the future, v'yakumu, and they will rise, bisman atchiyah, the time of the resurrection, le'onis miziv hashchina, to have pleasure from the ray of the divine presence. Lefi sha'orev agilu shebegan Eden. So what comes out from here, Yoni Moshe Myers, is that Gan Eden is a cheap shot. We talk about Gan Eden, Gan Eden, Gan Eden. Gan Eden compared to Olam Haba is a cheap shot. Why? And he says, because what you have in Gan Eden, hu prinas memala kol almim. It's only the energy that pervades the world. In other words, it's a catered, limited experience. So, okay, you see, it depends how and when we talk about Gan Eden, Moshe. When we talk about Gan Eden in one context, it can be the highest of the high. When we talk about Gan Eden and comparing it to Olam Haba, it's nothing. It's small change. Why? Because Gan Eden compared to Olam Haba is a limited experience, a limited revelation. And Olam Haba is the ultimate. Right? Now, when do we have Gan Eden? After we pass on, our neshamas return to Hashem, we have the cleansing process, unless you're a tzaddik, and then you go into Gan Eden, right? What's Olam Haba? Olam Haba is Olam Atchiyah, the world of the resurrection. That's Olam Haba. It's a machlekes, but, right? So that experience of Olam Atchiyah means that you come back on earth. You see this Nakuda? Gan Eden is very nice, but guess what? It's in a world that must have a spiritual realm up there. It's like someone must live in, like we've discussed, in Mea Sharem or Ramat Betshevish Bet, whatever. Otherwise they freak out if they don't have what their comfort, right? In other words, Gan Eden, it's gewaldig, it's pleasure, it's having joy from the divine presence, but it must be that way. Olam Haba is no, we come back on earth. There's Tchias HaMesim, and right over here you experience the highest of God. That's much greater. So that's why Olam Haba is greater. Let's continue. So he says, the Gan Eden is only but a progression from level to level through many contractions. Chazal say like this: the Yud Nivra Olam Haba. Olam Haba was created with the little Yud. V'hi Pchinas Chochmeh, but this Yud is what we call supernal wisdom. Hanikras Eden Elyon, which is called the upper Eden. That progresses and invests itself enclosed itself in all worlds. All worlds are associated with are made by Chochmah. And Chochmah, wisdom, creativity enlivens, right? Like someone who follows a script. Okay, it gets boring after a while. But imagine the creative mind. There's a chidush. Oh, you get, wow, excited again. It's a chidush. So Chochmah is the chidush. In Gan Eden, every person, based on their comprehension while they were alive, they get that reward. That the pleasure of souls in Gan Eden, it comes from comprehending the secrets of Torah, that one was involved in such study on earth. Benigla, while it was revealed, Kedisa b'Zohar HaKodesh, Pasha Shlach, as it says in the Zohar HaKodesh, Pasha Shlach, Uva Gemara b'Uvda de Rabbi Bar Nachmani. The story of Rabbi Bar Nachmani is, there was a debate, a question, if there was a hair on a Baharis, in Tasriya, Mitzva, about the different leprosies. The question is, if the hair grew before the Baharis, or the leprosy grew before? It says a question. That's what it's referring to over here. So the Gemara says there, we'll know kind of the answer for sure when there's Tchias HaMesim. That's why he cites it. He cites it that when there'll be Tchias HaMesim, then the story, the episode of Rabbi Bar Nachmani in the Gemara will be revealed. But if you compare Gan Eden, paradise, to the revelation of the resurrection is a whole different, higher experience. It comes from what's called Sovev Kol Almin, the encompassing energy. It is not limited. It's not limited. I'll finish here, 1 second. It's infinite. In the first section of Tanya, chapter 48, the Alter Rebbe says, we explained the concept of Sefer Goalmin. It's not literal. Like a circle that it's only on the outside. It's a circle. It's rather inside. It's not invested and based on the recipient, and see there well in chapter 48. So in other words, one shouldn't think Sefer Kol Almin means it's an energy that hovers. It says it's here, it's here in this world, but it's not measured and created by the world limitations. It's created by God, and it's here. So from our perspective, it's Sovev. Chevra, we'll learn more tomorrow. Zygazum, take care. Bye-bye.